Hey buddies, so Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3 happened a few days ago. Becky and I watched it. We followed the whole series, but we've never really talked about it on the show. It's not a thing we do, show reviews, but we're going to talk about... Episode 3 was pretty big.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was longer.
It was long, yeah. It was like 120 minutes.
Almost double the length. Well, maybe not, but 50% longer. Long episode. It felt like its own movie that stood alone by itself. It was huge.
I wonder.
It was a spectacle. It looks like they took the budget of the last 8 seasons and poured it into one episode, didn't it?
It was.
Like going into that episode,
feast.
I was complaining to Becky. I was saying, you know what they're going to do? As Game of Thrones is done throughout its entire series, it's a big battle coming. So that means we're going to see a few close-up shots of a small group of troops, a lot of like people talking about how massive their armies are that's going on. Just trust them. There's lots going on, a lot of fighting, but you're not going to see it. And like I was even predicting the show would open with them saying they've broken through already, like the battle's already midway done, like a stylistic choice to jump midway into the battle. And like, oh my god, like what happened to what's his name? He's already dead, and you just wouldn't even see a death of some characters. But they kind of went all the way. They showed it to us from like beginning to end. Like that was satisfying.
They really did.
Almost like as satisfying as the J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings big battle where like Gandalf comes in on his white horse and like beats them back and stuff. There were some shots like that were like satisfying, like that big over the top beautiful battles.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. Let's just talk about that because that's the biggest positive was how beautiful it was. Yeah. It was incredible looking. The cinematography and
I feel like you have a much better eye for that. Like the cinematography.
Was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like ruined by terrible video compression. Terrible video compression. And it was very dark. And so, unfortunately, and we'll just get that out of the way, a lot of people's TVs aren't calibrated right. So they have it so that their dynamic contrast is on, or they've turned the gamma down, or they've put the black levels at their lowest possible. Because for most content, that looks really beautiful.
Yeah.
You crush the blacks and it looks super contrasty, and most people like contrast.
Yeah.
So people's TVs aren't calibrated right for super dark scenes. Usually the dark parts, it doesn't matter what's going on in those, because most of the rest of it's like in the mid range of the Luma spectrum.
Right.
But because most of this took place within the lower part of that, if you get a histogram out or a waveform monitor, is going to be down here with just a few highlights up here. That doesn't mean it's improperly exposed, but because of that, most people's TVs just crushed that down, and you didn't see shit.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
Some people don't have TVs with gamma levels. Mine doesn't.
Yeah, but every TV has like a way. I don't know. I haven't ever owned a TV that didn't have a way to set it, to calibrate it to a point where it should look the way it should look.
Yeah.
There's websites that help you do that. Anyways, that's an aside. It's too bad that some people didn't realize that, or they didn't have their TVs calibrated right. And I did hear that some providers fucked it up.
Yeah.
Some providers literally
actually
fucked it up.
Quiet's from Australia.
Yeah. The Australian provider Foxconn apparently just fucked it.
Yeah.
Just their compression, they recompress what they get from HBO, and they just destroyed it.
Yeah.
But that notwithstanding, if you got the source from HBO, it was beautiful with just a little bit, could have been a little bit better compression-wise. Modern day codecs assume that the human eye doesn't care about what's in the shadows, and they just make it into a macro blocking smeared mess, mud. It wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as people are saying. Anyways, that aside, beautiful.
Yeah.
Some of those shots of the dragons, like when that wall of like cloud
behind
Vancouver, Canada, they made those shots.
Yep.
When the dragons were going by, like just shooting the ground with the fire, and that giant wall of like cloud or storms behind it,
cool looking.
And like it's all black, and all of a sudden it starts, the flames start, and it just lights it all up.
Yeah.
Like, just amazing. And then those shots where like Jon Snow is walking through whatever his fucking kingdom's called.
Winterfell?
King Winterfell. He's walking through the keep, and like the dead are just falling around him.
Oh my god, I loved that part.
Yeah.
That was so friggin' cool looking.
And again, it's so gorgeous because it's so dark. It's so perfectly like crafted that the lighting on it, that it's just, you see these shadows.
Yeah.
And sort of like just hints of like these bodies falling all around him. And it's that darkness that just adds to it, that makes it so like, it just looked like this hell on earth kind of feeling. And that's definitely what they were going for.
For some reason it looked like relatable. Almost. The fact that it was darker.
That it was so, it added stress to the situation.
Yeah. And the score, the music was amazing.
Definitely. Let's keep on just for now, the visuals. There was another thing I wanted to mention. The moment that the dead come at them, the tsunami of dead, the way they're crawling over each other and just rolling like a juggernaut of dead, that was just incredible.
Yes.
That was just an incredible shot. And like, this is a show that has had a lot of not great CG.
Yeah.
And this stuff was like movie caliber, like big screen, blockbuster caliber stuff.
I was saying to Fraser when we were watching it, I was like, that's what I expected from Days Gone.
Yeah,
like,
basically.
That's what I wanted.
When they start crawling over the wall.
Yeah, they're all just like...
crawling over each other. It looked like World War Z.
Yeah.
The movie.
Right.
Where the zombies are climbing. I haven't seen it. I actually want to watch it on this show.
I mean.
When the zombies are crawling up and getting the helicopter and stuff and crawling over walls. Like, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
A game of which is coming soon that looks like it has some interesting hordes, but we'll talk about that later. Anyways, yeah, darkness was an issue, but this was also its asset. It was beautiful. I can't wait to see that episode on Blu-ray, where it will truly have justice done to it, where you'll be able to see the film grain and everything.
Yes.
Without the compression, like codecs getting their ugly mitts on it. So, visuals aside, was there any other stunning visual moments that stood out? The dragon battle above the clouds was really cool.
Yeah.
And just the dragon battle in general, the way that looking frantically from side to side, the dragon's over here, and then all of a sudden he's like, they lose sight of him and he swoops up, and like all those moments were incredible as well.
Yeah.
God, that was gorgeous. I think that's all the visuals. And then the beautiful inspired shot of Dothraki being represented simply by points of light, only to be extinguished.
Right. That was amazing.
And the Jon Snow and...
just the silence.
Jon Snow and what's-her-face, Daenerys, just standing there on the cliffside watching as the most terrible tactical battle tactics that I've ever seen take place in a film played out before their eyes.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Let's get on to that. Like, let's go to this is my biggest problem with the entire episode, as beautiful as it was. What the fuck? Who planned this battle? Whose idea was it? The dead are coming. They go over this they've been going over for seasons now. The dead are coming. Their numbers are staggering. We cannot beat them in a one-on-one battle. So let's throw our guys out there one-on-one with them. What the fuck? Why did they throw... That's not how you use a cavalry either. They have... The Dothraki are their best on their horses, and they just go straight in?
Yeah.
No, cavalry is supposed to be used in pincher attacks. They're supposed to be used to flank. They're supposed to be used to divide the enemy. Maybe, like, in midway through battle, they could have, like, done a wedge maneuver and, like, divided the enemy.
Yeah.
That's how a cavalry is used. And I'm not, like, a fucking expert. I just have, like, a few thousand hours of civilization behind my belt. But in those, you just toss guys at guys.
What's the alternative? I guess what I just
told you is the alternative. There was no reason to leave a defensible position.
Yeah.
All they had to do was hold out. Remember, the entire strategy was supposed to be get the fucking Winter Night King guy.
To Bran.
Lure him to Bran, and then we kill him because that wipes out all of them.
Yeah. All
they should have been doing was stalling. Instead of stalling, they threw their guys into them for no reason.
Well, Gravel was saying, I think it's because the Dothraki knew how to fight in the open field.
That's fine.
But yeah, it wasn't great tactics.
Fight in the open field, when the time is right.
Right.
They should have like had the dead come to them, had tons of trenches dug. Maybe like if I had to play devil's advocate, they didn't have time to dig all the trenches. Have them come to that first trench anyways. Light that shit up. Then have the Dothraki come in at the sides.
Yeah.
Or something. Start shooting down at them. Why did the fucking dragon come in after they mixed with the humans?
Yeah, exactly. Like, they should have had the dragon wall, like, way the fuck out there. The wall of fire, I mean.
Yeah.
Way the fuck out there. And then start burning them.
They waited for the dead to flow over their allies. So I'm going to be ranting about this for a while because there's a lot of just so many amazing dramatic moments that were created. They were like, how do we make this dramatic moment happen? Well, we should just make something make no fucking sense. That's how that moment could happen. Mm-hmm. How do we make how do we inspire a moment of dread in the audience where their favorite characters get swallowed up by a tsunami of dead that nobody could come back from? Well, we just show that. But how do they come back from it? Well, just like clip away, and when they come back, they're fighting and they're fine.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
That did happen.
I was so excited for a split second when they got swallowed up, when you saw Jaime and Bryn. And the Hound and all of them get swallowed up, and like right after having seen him, the scaly guy who got cured, coming back from the Dothraki with this look of terror on his face, like being like, it's over.
Yeah.
That was what it looked like. It was like, this is it. Like, they're gonna die. They're all going to die. He's like, he had a look like, we have no chance. We're fucked.
You're talking about when he came back on the horse.
Yes.
That was fucking wild.
It was terrifying.
That look on his face.
Followed by the tsunami. I was so happy. I was like, wow, they're really doing it. They're just like, those guys are dead. We told you. And this is what's his name who wrote it all? What's his name? Anyways. J.R. Martin. That's what he would have written. He would have gone with that. He would have been like, and then the dead swallowed up these 5 characters, and the next time you see them, they are dead, and they're among the
walking.
army.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been beautiful. Way to just fucking... That's what Game of Thrones is, and that's why it's such a beloved series, is that people just... They get unceremonious endings. They're just like, that's how the world works. That's how medieval times worked. It's just all of a sudden this guy dies in the worst way that he didn't deserve. He's gone.
Yeah.
That's how it should have happened. I was so excited when I thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, shit, they're really fucking going for it.
As far as how long Daenerys waited to go for it, according to the directors, the plan was never for them to go into the main battle. Jon and Dany were supposed to be looking for the Night King immediately instead.
So why didn't
But then she saw the Dothraki die and went in anyways.
Oh. Okay. All right.
Huh.
Okay, then. All right, just calculating. Let's go back for a moment when they were in their planning room and saying, our goal is to draw the Night King out. So you're telling me they had 2 plans? They had look for the Night King, but also bring him to Bran? And then when they finally realized, Jon Snow realizes, oh shit, the Night King, he's going for Bran! Fuck! You idiot!
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Now I have to get back.
Idea,
the whole plan was that I, Jon Snow, with my plot armor, defeat the Night King. Was Jon Snow like convinced that he's supposed to be there to defeat him because this one man, Jon Snow, was prophesized? Was there something I missed or didn't remember? Like,
I don't think
why
so.
are they so convinced that Jon Snow defeats Night King, period? So let's go into that trap. So
prophecy, you think? Was there something?
So, and I'm sorry Becky's not talking as much, but I have a lot to say. I'm ranty. And we'll go back to the positives again in a bit, which Becky has a lot to say about.
Oh, God.
But go back to that meeting they had in the room. They're saying, like, he's coming for me. He's going to attack me. We'll draw him out and be like, are you suggesting we use him as bait? Yes. And the master plan is, when he comes to the bait, then the Dickless Wonder will defeat him with a spear, charging head first, right at him.
Are you talking about Theon?
Yeah.
Aw.
I'm sorry to any eunuchs that we have in our audience. I just have that's a term of affection. The Dickless Wonder. Well, that's funny to say because there's like 3 of them on the show.
Yeah, it's true.
Just side note, for a lot of people who complain about how they treat women on this show, how they're just like rape targets constantly, like that it's lazy writing or something, they also are quick to castrate men. They're quick to chop their dicks off. I'm just saying, it seems like equal opportunity to me. Anyways,
They do that a lot.
They do it a lot. Those dicks get taken off quite a bit. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the whole Bran. What they could have done with Bran, if he truly was the trap, they could have had it set up so that like as soon as the Night King walks in, like there are arches with dragon glass. There's a fucking like floor made out of spikes of dragon glass. There is like a thing comes down and blocks him in. The dragon, one of the dragons was waiting back to just be there or something at the end, or so many different traps that you usually have in combination with bait. Usually bait involves a trap.
Right.
In this case, it was just bait.
Yeah, it really was just bait. I think Jon was supposed to be there because he did keep saying that he had to go back for Bran.
Because Jon is just like a silver bullet for the Night King. Yeah. We all know.
Yeah.
It's just so much logical problems with the writing. And then the Night King just... He summons a cloud, or a storm, a winter storm, that only his dragon seems to be able to navigate properly. Then instead of using it to his asset, like as it engulfs King's Landing, or what was it called? Winterfell? As it engulfs Winterfell, instead of using that to his advantage, whipping over the little grove with the tree and blasting it with fire. He could have beelined it for it. Remember, this guy has like basically a tracker on Bran. Like he knows exactly where he is and he just wants to kill him. But the guy also has like apparently a flair for cinematics.
Yeah.
Like that for drama. So he likes to like take his time, slowly walk towards guys, stare at guys like Jon Snow as he goes like like he's definitely got his greatest weakness is his dramatic timing. Anyways, he could have just beelined it right down for this place that doesn't have a roof.
Yeah.
And burned it to hell. Instead, he just floats around for a while so that he can do this like dance in the chaos with Daenerys and Jon Snow. It would have been one thing if Jon Snow and Daenerys had the drop on him and he had no choice but to like do some like dog fighting with them in the air. He was fine. They were trying to find him.
Yeah.
He knew exactly where he was.
Stayed in the like
then Daenerys and Jon Snow go up above to get a clear sight and try to find him. They look down, nothing but clouds. They have no idea where he is. He comes up to them for some reason to go 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Why would he want to go in a 2-on-1 battle with them? It doesn't make sense. That's not his goal. His goal is to kill Bran. That's it. That's all he wants. It doesn't make sense. More things that don't make sense. Fucking, and the reason I'm going off on this is because like the episode was so beautiful, and like it annoys me that some of this stuff ruined it for me because I get taken out of things so easily by things that don't make sense. Fucking Daenerys goes and saves Jon Snow, which everybody's like, oh my god, she does care, even though she could have just let him die because he's actually the heir, and then she would have no chance, no competition to the throne. She comes and saves him because she just loves him so much, knowing him for 2 weeks. She drops down. It's also her brother now, so it's double love.
Ooh, yeah.
Drops down, flames them all, decides to just sit there for a bit.
Yeah.
And then,
oh yeah,
Army of the Dead. Oh shit! I'm sorry, dragon pal. I'm sorry about that. You know, I lose more dragons this way, saving Jon Snow.
Yeah.
I'm always losing my dragons.
Oh yeah, he's her nephew.
Okay,
that's
whatever. Well, that makes it a lot better. So she just swoops down, saves him, and instead of like, she didn't even have to land to save him. She could just been like, and then like floated off again. Instead, she lands, and again, it seems all of this done just so that the writers could create this amazing spectacle, which was amazing looking. The dragon gets covered in dead and has to shake them off and is like fighting them, and it's like
they could have done something where the like dead are like climbing up to her, create like this.
There's many things they could have done to make it make sense for that dragon to be covered in dead.
Yeah.
That didn't involve her landing like an idiot and letting them cover her dragon.
Yeah.
They could have done, like, I don't fucking know, like, maybe she does have to take a risk to go save him, swoops down, puts fire on a bunch of them, but then, like, maybe one of the giant dead or something, just clip her or something, or, like, throw something at her, and, like, it makes it go to the ground or something. Anything. It wouldn't have been hard to just write in something that made sense. That's what I'm like. That scene could have still existed and still made sense instead of her landing. Anyways, there's the shot actually right there. The crypt. They hide in the crypt, and let's just remember the whole point of Tyrion. That's the little guy, right?
Yeah.
Tyrion being down there is that they said his brain is more valuable than his fighting ability and that they need his brain. He then remarks later that my brain is better used up there because I might, like, just like that other battle, I saw shit. What's my brain being reserved for?
Yeah.
Later, after the battle, when, like, how to more, like, most effectively clean up all these bodies? Like, maybe he'll know? Why aren't they? And so they put him down in the crypt, and despite him being this tactical and, like, this clever in the books, right? He's, like, put forth as, like, the most clever guy that ever it was.
Yeah. He's
a trickster. He's a clever guy. He always sees, like, problem solving before anybody else does. He didn't make the connection that the crypt was full of dead, as this dead king who can raise the dead is coming.
Yeah.
He didn't see that.
Yeah.
Neither
it's
did
silly
the
that
spider.
Tyrion didn't. Yeah.
The second most clever man in all of the world.
My thought is maybe they didn't know, like, in the crypt it's bones. Like, I don't know, maybe they thought that there was a statute of limitations on.
So maybe, like, they could have used more information from the tied for second other most clever man in this entire story, Cuck McGee. Sam.
Yeah.
Whose wife is down there. He's a maester. He's fought these. He did not make the connection that the crypt had bones that could raise. He's fought ones that look like bones. He knows this. He has this information and didn't make the connection either.
I feel like we didn't see them, like, really like skeletons until this battle.
Yes, we did. We have.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've seen pure bone, because I remember even in past episodes being like, how do you stab a guy with dragonglass when he's nothing but rib? Like, does it count when it just goes into the ribs? Like, what counts as a stab with dragonglass when they're only bone? That's what I remember thinking that in previous episodes. There you go.
Bran and Mira
so many
fought
things.
bones outside the 3-hour Raven area. Okay.
That aside, they're in the crypt, all the dead are raising, they're killing them all. I got excited again. I'm like, wow, a slaughter. This is horrible.
And
this is like...
It's full of
women and children. This is like Red Wedding caliber horror.
This is fucking crazy.
Then,
and there's
like,
screams.
And there's, like, people clawing the ground, being dragged into the darkness. The Ice King is defeated. The smoke clears. They look up, and then it shows a shot of, like, 3 of them on the ground. And most of them are still there.
Everybody
all the ones
that
that matter
seen.
are still there.
Yeah. So we can only assume that...
Anybody with a name in the script is still alive. Everybody's fine. Yeah. Everybody survived. Literally everyone survived.
Not everybody.
Literally every single character.
Fraser.
So who dies?
Lady Mormont.
Uh-huh.
The little girl.
Okay.
That killed the giant.
Oh, so you
badass.
think she survives? Oh, she dies.
She's dead.
Yeah, she's dead.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty epic death, and that was pretty cool. That was actually probably one of the best done, most believable scenes.
I thought that was really fucking cool.
Because her like sort of stubbornness causes her to get injured to start with.
Yeah.
Her bravery finally, like, her stature is finally shown to be the weak link that does still exist. She is only a little girl despite her bravery.
Yeah.
So she gets swept to the side by a giant, then stumbling, like, catching her breath, works up the courage to run at him, and then, I don't know if it was a part of her strategy, but at least she thought on her feet, or literally did not, off her feet, and stabs him in the eye. That was pretty epic, because it was just sort of that hopelessness, that sort of hopeless scene.
Yeah.
Just pure, like, this is horrific.
Yeah.
Horror.
But then she...
Very well done, and she dies.
Yeah.
And that was great. It was a good death.
Jorah,
Who the fuck is that?
another Mormont. Mormont?
What's a Mormont?
Their last name.
Who's Jorah?
He's Daenerys.
They're related, those two?
Yeah.
The little girl and him are related?
Yeah, that's her uncle.
Okay. I just call him Scale Man.
Yeah, so Scale Man.
Scale Man.
He died.
He dies.
Yeah.
And
Which is...
I think he'll come back. Did we really see him die?
Oh,
Didn't he just close his eyes?
Back. Yeah, maybe, but...
I think the next episode
Daenerys was like broken the fuck up. So if he comes back alive, like again, that's fucking stupid.
That would be.
They're cousins. I thought that it was okay.
It's very
Maybe
strongly
it is
implied he's dead, but I'm still holding out that he might survive.
That bullshit.
Theon seems to be definitely dead, I think.
He seems pretty dead.
Maybe.
He had like a lot of blood coming out of his mouth.
Maybe.
He's dead.
Yeah, they wanted to really give him a sending off. And that's the thing, is that, you know, the early seasons of Game of Thrones were so amazing because J.R. Tolkien, or whatever he is,
J.R.
Martin. So they really
George
R.R. Martin,
Yeah.
J.R.R. Tolkien. Okay, so George R.R. Martin clearly had nothing was sacred. He didn't give a shit, like who dies and how. Now you've got showrunners who have an entire, like, one of the most popular shows ever, and they have all these people talking on Twitter, and it feels like it's script writing by counsel of the masses now. They are too afraid, I think, to sacrifice any character that is a fan favorite without at least wrapping up giving them closure.
Yeah.
And what I've always loved about Game of Thrones, I thought that people die without closure.
Yeah.
I loved it. They die without getting to say goodbye to certain characters, without seeing other characters that they really should have seen again, like if you wanted to have closure. And it feels like almost like they're going the route of fan fiction. They're jumping the shark to the point where every character has to have a last heroic look, a last heroic like exchange with a character that really matters. Like, oh my god, they finally saw each other and they said it. That's where it feels like it's going, unfortunately. And you have to wonder what George R.R. Martin's... He's been putting input, and he seems pretty happy with where the show's going, but will he ultimately say, all right, that was fun, but now I'm going to write the real ending? Where the paths diverged, here's my books, and I have a different idea?
Yeah, I don't know.
Will he do that?
Yeah, what about Ghost?
Nobody gives a shit about the dogs. Nobody gives a fuck about the dogs. And that alone makes me want every Stark to die. Fuck the Starks. They have all these cute puppies. And they've pet them once, maybe in a shot. Twice.
Direwolves don't really love to be pet.
Well, it doesn't... The point
Maybe
is...
they do. I don't
They don't
actually
seem
know.
super broken up about it when one of these guys die. And they always die to the worst situations.
Wasn't Sansa, like, really broken up about her dog?
Doesn't feel like it. I want every Stark dead. Starks can kiss my ass. Arya first. That's because I know she's a fan favorite, so I'm just going to say it. Arya should die. I want all of them dead. Here come the dislikes. In the books, they are making a wolf army. Arya's wolf goes out to start a wolf army. That would be cool, because these wolves look like they have personalities. They look like more than just creatures. They look like...
I don't really remember that.
They actually have, like, cognitive thought behind their eyes. That's what they made them look like and feel like, these dire wolves. It has always bothered me how the Starks don't seem to give that big of a fuck about
weird.
the wolves.
He wanted Jon and Arya to have a romance. Barf.
Sure. Do it. Fucking do it. Like, I like George R.R. Martin's ideas better. I have to reiterate, the reason the show is so successful is it's been so avant-garde. It does things that you don't expect from writing this day and age.
The Red Woman died.
The Red Woman seemed to just kind of peace out.
Yeah.
She was sick of being wrong all the time.
Yeah, man.
She's like, you know what? I predicted I would die tonight. Still hasn't happened. And barring a slip in the shower, I'm just going to go ahead and, like, get this.
Disintegrate
I'm just
out
going to
here.
disintegrate out for you guys. Because I know you're sick of it. I'm sick of it. I was
Yeah.
wrong again.
Yep.
I didn't die.
Eye patch guy who had been resurrected 9 times.
This is the dude who
back.
resurrects infinitely, so don't hold. I'm not gonna put
No,
him on the
he's
list.
totally dead because
Why?
the red woman is.
Was she the one bringing him back?
She was the one bringing him back.
No, it was the fire
wasn't
god
it?
brings him back.
It was just straight
His
up the
buddies
fire
just
god?
pray, and then he comes back. And that's what's funny is that there's how like he dies, and they're also convinced that this is the one. He's definitely dead now.
Yeah.
That's it. The red woman said this is what his purpose was, this final moment, and she's always right. So he's definitely dead now.
It was his buddy priest.
So there was that.
And like he's hardly a main character. We're like the guy with the eye patch. So
Any other big plot problems? Mainly just like it was just dishonesty. I thought a lot of the as beautiful as the cinematography was, the shot planning and the way it panned out and the editing, the sequence of scenes was dishonest. It's like those shots in movies where a character, picture Monty Python, the guy's running towards the screen, he's getting closer, just before it seems like he's right there, it clips away to something else, comes back, he's far away again. That was what they were doing in a roundabout way, with the way the main characters seem to be really at their death's door, over and over, hopeless situations. Scaly Man sitting there protecting Daenerys, who through all her time with the Dothraki has never learned to fight in any form or way.
yeah,
Which goes completely against her
Has
personality.
she ever fought?
Like, that goes against her personality, that she would never want to learn a little bit of fighting.
Yeah.
She seems to have never picked up a blade before, the way she holds it. Anyways, he's protecting her. And at one point, a top-down shot with 7 dead, just full tilt running towards him, and he's like only facing 2 of them. It's like, he's done. Come back, hey, he killed them all. How'd he do that?
Yeah.
Who knows how he did it? The point is that you felt the dread of that character dying again and again and again. And when you're that dishonest with the audience, when you constantly are tricking them into thinking they're seeing the final shot of a character, it takes away from the power of those shots, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it used to be in Game of Thrones, you were always on the edge of your seat because you really believe they're willing to do anything.
Yeah.
To like just suddenly kill a character, like, you know, I don't want to bring up Red Dead, but like, you know, there's moments where it's just like unceremonious, like, shit!
Yeah.
You just did that to that guy?
Yeah.
He's gone!
Yeah.
Fuck!
You can control this, and this is what you fucking did with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, somebody's talking about how the last 10 or 15 minutes was really incredible.
The music.
Oh, I'm such an asshole. I hated that. Remember how I said, are we going to wrap this up? Like, the slow walk of the Ice Night King, and the staring between him and Bran, and like, everything was so slow. Like, get to the fucking point. I thought the pacing was so good up until that moment in the show.
Thought the battle was like, as much as I loved it and thought it was great, I thought it was too long. Like, the part inside Winterfell, the castle, where Arya was being quiet and like sneaking around, I thought like that basically all could have been cut.
Why did it happen?
Yeah. I don't even understand how she got in there.
The battle takes a pause.
Yeah.
Suddenly within the keep, you can't, in the castle, in the library, you can't even, like, they must have amazing soundproofing. You can't even hear a battle outside. It's just dead silent. Next, the dead have this ultimate respect for the rules of the library. They're going like ravenous everywhere they go. Like, you see a dead guy, as he turns a corner and sees a guy, he goes and goes at them. Like, they do these unnatural, weird, twitching movements. Like, they can't be controlled. They get into a library like, books. Shh.
Yeah.
Like, they know. They should have just, if they had breached into the walls, they'd just be swarming the keep. They should have been just like in the halls everywhere, just flowing like water.
Yeah.
The way that initial tsunami looked like was coming. Instead, they just like, that was just a weird.
Yeah.
And again, a bunch of really cool shots, like a really cool moments that were created by that thing that they just like they had to.
It did seem like they just wanted to shoot a stealth sequence,
Yeah.
like, and the fact that they heard the blood dripping, but not Arya's footsteps or breathing or anything else because she's so silent. But it's this thing that she can't really.
Yeah, there's cool moments. Just
But
that it's unfortunate that the writers
it
felt
wasn't
that
necessary.
things that make no sense had to be written to make these moments happen. Like I'm picturing in the writers' room there was this guy, maybe one guy, constantly saying like, "So guys, this is looking good. All right, should we go ahead and write this scene then? If that all the broad strokes make sense." And one guy being like, "I don't think they make sense," and be like, "Shut up, nerd!" And they like stuff him in a locker.
Oh, but he was
That's
the
what I
voice
was.
of reason.
Yeah, there was one guy who was the voice of reason, be like, "But wait a minute, why would they do that?" And be
If
like,
you just
"Shut
didn't
the
have that
fuck
voice.
up. I will fucking destroy you."
The battle was filmed for 55 nonstop days. My God.
Night shoots that said that it really wore on the cast, which
Holy
probably
shit.
you could probably see like in the stress on their faces. Like, let's say something positive. The actors did amazing.
Oh, God, yeah.
Some amazing scenes.
And the choreography for the fighting
was
is
really good.
so good. What
Yeah.
was it recently where we were like, oh, it was Westworld. We saw some fighting in the background and it was shit. It was like,
yeah.
we liked Westworld, but
It's a moment where
this, I was looking for that. I was looking for like
extras
background.
just trying to make themselves
Yeah,
look busy
but
fighting, but
that even
no, it
looked
was
amazing.
it was incredible.
Yeah.
Jamie and Brynn,
Yeah.
the
Brynn.
looks on their face of terror and desperation through the whole fight made it so convincing to the audience, like, this is hopeless.
Yeah.
They were not heroic looking.
No.
They looked terrified and
They were
dead
gonna die.
people. They
Yeah.
are going to die now.
Yeah.
Oh. But
Oh.
fucking Sam is alive. He's on the front fucking lines. Maybe, even barring, even considering the fucking tsunami of dead, that maybe the greatest fighters, these like mountainous characters such as Brynn and the Hound, could somehow, with their broadswords, just swath them down and cut a way out.
Yeah.
Sam survives. He's
Yeah.
basically blubbering and shaking the whole time, and he survives yet again.
Yeah.
Even though he's in the shit. He's in the thick of it, right on the front lines. Why do you have to put
He's
him there?
good at hiding.
He wasn't hiding, though. He was right there on the parapets, or between, if that's what you call them, those little things as the dead are climbing up over the wall. He's like a little deacon.
That one guy did die to save Sam. That's true.
Maybe not shown. Not
Everybody
pictured
else
here.
was
90% of the people who
sacrificing
died were to
themselves.
save Sam. Maybe that's what it was. Like, that's
Yeah,
just...
they were literally all over him. He was on the ground. That was near the end, but
Tell me, what is the purpose for including him in the battle? He's a fan favorite of certain people's, and they wanted to keep them invested as well.
yeah.
They wanted to make sure that every different type of fan out there who likes different characters had their guy in the mix. There made no sense for him to be out there. Why did he decide? Why was he more Tyrion? Out of the two characters, when both are told basically the same thing, this isn't your fight. Like, keep yourself safe. You're important. You're smart. Out of the two, Tyrion would be more stubborn than him. He would have been the first to say, all right, I get it, and walked away. He's got a family, he's got a kid.
Yeah.
You've got Tyrion as the drunk guy who's like, I've had my life. I'm ready to end it. He even said, like, it would almost be fitting for me to die ripped apart by dead and not give her chance.
I expected him to grow over
Cersei.
the seasons and become capable,
Yeah.
but he hasn't grown. He's still just a coward. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Usually you would include a character in scenes like this for the purpose of character development. There is no character development happening. There was no reason for him to be there.
Yeah.
There was no it made no believable sense that he would include himself. Pod apparently survives as well, but he's awesome now because he was trained by Brynn, so maybe that's why he survives.
If George R. R. Martin intended him for Sam to be at the end, but didn't know what to do with him, he should have been in the crypt.
Then he should have been in the crypt. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy writing. Bam.
Yeah.
But it's just pure, like, fan service. That's what it is. I'm calling that.
I really loved Tyrion and Sansa's interactions.
Yeah, those were actually interesting.
I thought that was really cute.
That may have been the reason for them to be in
really
the
well
crypt
done.
together. Maybe that's why they really wanted those scenes with them together, so they wrote them into the crypt.
Yeah.
And they couldn't come up with a better reason for Tyrion to be down there.
I loved that Sansa was up first, and then Arya was like, bitch, you gotta go down, because you don't know what to do here.
Yeah, how was she up there first, and then he wasn't? They should have had him injured early or something. Maybe that should have been, like, a reason for him to go down there. He got, like, injured. It's like, look, you yourself would admit you're not the best fighter in the world on a good day, but now you've, like, lost a foot, so just go down there.
Right.
Give it a reason for him to not be brave in this particular battle when he's been so brave in other ones.
Yeah.
This is, like, it just sounds like I hated it, but it was just, this is why I'm ranting so much. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. Some of the best TV I've ever seen, except for the writing. It's just so dumb. What the fuck?
After the episode, I was like, that was so great. That was so good. And Prince was like, it was.
It was. What the fuck? Who was in charge of these battles?
Yeah.
And they sit there, they put out the Unsullied are behind. The Unsullied are the spearmen. They put spearmen behind swordsmen? That's not how tactics work. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
The initial onslaught of the enemy, especially if they have horses, but they don't have horses. Apparently, well, some of them do. But the point is, when the charge comes, you want the spearmen at the front.
Yeah.
Instead, they put the swordsmen at the front, and then once the retreat was needed, then the Unsullied kind of like make a wall to be sacrificed, apparently. To be like...
The Unsullied kind of killed it.
Sure.
They were like...
Yeah, for what they did, but like, they shouldn't have been...
Strong.
They should have been... They could have just held down the fort, brought the dead into... I don't even know how Winterfell has stayed the way it has for so many years. How did they ever defend themselves? They're in an open field.
Yeah.
Who builds a fucking castle there?
Well, no, they have the castle walls.
So? That's a castle. King's Landing, did you see that?
Yeah.
That's a castle. That you have to have a defensible location. Like, if they had a place where they could funnel them into something, like, you know, through an area, then they could take them out as they came through. Because that's, when you're dealing with Horde, I sound like I'm Sun Tzu or something, but it doesn't take a guy who's written The Art of War to realize that this was dumb. Funnel them into shit and just, like, they're so stupid, just, like, mow them down, or make them clog up an area with themselves and they can't get through or something.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things they could have done to, like, make the Ice King impatient and come for Bran and then just deal with him.
Yeah.
And then fucking Ice King comes and Arya decides that it was a tactical advantage to her to scream before stabbing him.
Yeah.
This character who is the stealthiest of all the characters.
I never thought about that. She screamed.
She's a girl who, like, moves like the night, like a fucking ninja. You don't even know she's there before she's, like, stabbing you with the pointy end.
Yeah.
And yet she decides to leap into the air and scream.
It's just common courtesy.
It's common courtesy. And then he turns and grabs her, like, luckily she thinks to do some weird maneuver where she drops a knife into her other hand.
My question is, why didn't the Night King immediately break Arya's neck?
Exactly.
Good question.
Because the Night King is obsessed with these moments of fuck you. This guy moves like a guy with a chip on his shoulder. Like, who hurt him? Like, really.
He's 10,000 years old, isn't he?
He's
like,
got a vindictiveness to him that...
He's got years of...
I'm not sure we'll ever get an explanation as to why the Ice...
The Night King loves drama.
Yeah, but he's also got, like, pure, like, vindictive anger. Something about his life or what has happened on the... Like, he doesn't just want to... He's an Ice King. He should be cold and calculating and, like, emotionless. And he looks like it at first. But then, every time there's a moment to make somebody feel bad about the situation, he pauses to soak that in.
Yeah.
That's what he does. That's, like, his thing. That's his jam.
I like the callback when Arya did the knife drop with Bran. When they were sparring.
Oh, really? That happened?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And Bran was like, Shit.
It's unfortunate because, like, while it was a beautiful spectacle to behold, it now we're going into the final episodes that is going to, like, you know, the dust is settled and we have to see, there's going to be the drama between Cersei plus Daenerys plus Jon Snow plus you have the wild, how are they going to wrap all this up? You have the wild card of the true heir, or you have many true heirs, including Robert Baratheon's bastard. And then you have Podrick is somehow also... No, he's not. No, Podrick's just Pod. Never mind. He's just got a big dick. That's the only thing.
Gendry.
But yeah, you got Gendry, who's barely ever shown, right? But he's the one who has that unfortunate scene with Arya.
Yeah.
And that's a big nope. I know that wasn't this episode, but no. I don't... She grew up on the show. It's not right. That ain't right. You don't have her take her clothes off.
I was
She's a little girl.
If there was going to be another big battle with Cersei, and Fraser was like, no. But I feel like there has to be another battle, right?
Okay, so here's where I think about that. She's in King's Landing. Her whole plan was to see them weakened by the Ice King. She didn't care who wins. She figured if the Ice King's going to fight them, clash against the North, it's all the armies in the North. She has no idea how big the Ice King's army, but she just feels, she's got a pretty reasonable assumption that the loser will be or the winner will be weakened. The loser will be obliterated, and she'll clean up the loser.
Yeah.
And then she'll have, or the winner, and then she'll have the North. Right. North will be hers as well, and because Jon Snow's up there and Daenerys, she'll have no contest anymore. She's the king, the queen. Which is very Cersei, and that's the only tactical sense that has made sense to a character yet, like in this whole thing, that she would tactically believe that or do that. Mm-hmm. Despite, and here's just where, because they've been so dishonest with us, this is my prediction. How big do you think that the remaining army is at this point?
In Winterfell?
Yeah, how many men do you think are left?
Like, it shouldn't be much.
I'm predicting that you're going to see, like, huge shot of, like, tons of Dothraki, unsullied, men of the North, all fine. It's going to look just as big an army as it was before.
You think?
I am very sure of it. It should be tiny. It won't be. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. I felt like maybe 100 survived.
Yep, yeah. That's what they gave you, that feeling, right? That the only people who survived are basically the main characters and then, like, their squires or something like that, or the guys that do their housekeeping.
Yeah.
It's going to be, they're going to have tons of people, and and then there will be another battle. And I'm still predicting they blew their budget on that. If there is another big battle, and I think there will be between the big North army and hers, that you won't see it. It'll be like the battle with the Dragonfire, where it happens on the beach. You'll see a small section of battle, and I really think they've blown their budget. So if there is a big battle, you won't see it.
Huh. So there's 2 episodes left, right?
There's only 2 left?
Is that right? I'm asking.
I thought it would be a full-fledged season. Or was it a half season?
I thought it was 6 episodes, so 3 more episodes.
There's so much to wrap up. So how are they going to, like, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's a real tragedy that George R.R. Martin didn't get to write his version first. That the popularity just became such a huge thing faster than he could, like, get his ideas together, that he wanted to do like his ending, because it would have been better, guaranteed.
I picture, you said Jon will fight Cersei in the throne room as another callback. I could see
how does Jon fight Cersei? Cersei can fight?
Yeah, instead of Cersei, I see it being the Mountain.
The Mountain.
Or the Hound will fight the Mountain. That's interesting, actually.
It's his own fault. He's written several other books in the last 6 years. It's pretty clear that George R. R. Martin has told the showrunners his ending, what he wanted as the ending. It's clear George R. R. Martin doesn't really care what happens at this point. He's wrote the world. He's given it to someone else. I don't think he cares. And I didn't know he'd written, like, several other books since. So he's not even working on it. He doesn't even, like, seem to... It's because he's a fucking luminary. He's just got so many ideas. He doesn't care. They're not sacred to him.
Man, but he spent so much time and effort and
he's been writing
stuff creating
since he was like friggin' like he can remember, like basically as far back as he has memories. He's been a writer,
Yeah.
constantly making up stories about the world around him. Like he's a natural born storyteller. His probably like he has duotangs full of like 10 other Game of Thrones probably with full worlds and stories. This one just happened to get popular. He's probably like
Right.
probably has a little bit of my type of problem where like more ideas than he wants to even work on. He just wants to put more ideas out there.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, is there any other the positive things though? The score you're saying is really good.
I don't know, I just tried to say things counterpoint your
Yeah.
negative as we went through.
You also liked things?
What was I telling you the other day that I liked?
All the things?
Yeah. Basically all the things. It was all great. It made me happy.
If you guys wonder why I don't give Becky a chance to talk, it's that she doesn't really want to say things at length. This is her opinion. She liked it.
I liked it. It was so fun.
Some people are just nice and go with the flow. Others are like super cynical, critical thinkers. It's more fun to be a Becky.
You loved Theon's ending?
I didn't.
I didn't have many feelings about Theon's ending, actually.
Well, it's just
It
kind
was
of
nice
weird.
that he was like,
Why did
you're home.
Bran give him the courtesy of that like, you were a good man? Bran has no emotion anymore. He's basically a robot. It's kind of odd for him to think, like, I want this guy to feel good before he dies.
Yeah, I don't know. Bran does suck. Fuck.
Well, his character's written pretty well. Like, he is just a kid, started getting taught by the guy, got obsessed with, like, you know, the guy even told him, like, this stuff will change you.
Yeah.
And he became the new dude.
Yeah.
Now he's not Bran anymore, basically. He's lost his self. And that makes complete sense. He's not Bran, basically. He's got the memories of Bran.
I know all this.
But Bran basically died.
Yeah.
In a way. You're expecting Bran to just set up, I got better. Although it's funny, like, he also has, despite being seemingly emotionless, he has these sort of moments where he was able to do that fuck you to Jaime, that, like,
yeah,
sort of just, like, letting him know
the
he knows.
things we do
like,
for love.
Yeah. I've liked Jaime's character development. I've liked where he is now as a character, this broken man, which is very interesting to me. The woman he loves hates him with a fiery passion now and wants him to die.
Yeah.
I remember there's another element here. What's his name? Bounty hunter dude who spent so much time with Jaime is now charged with killing Jaime. Will he do it? He was given a crossbow to do it. He's charged with killing Jaime and Tyrion on order of Cersei.
Right.
So
Bronn.
Will he? What was the last thing he said to Jaime? Is there any loyalty there? Is there any camaraderie or like?
I don't remember.
All for that castle. Give that man his castle. I don't know what he'll do. Like, does he care? He's already been jilted by reward how many times now?
Yeah.
Does he really give a shit anymore?
Yeah.
He knows that, like, their word isn't as good as, like, Lannisters have been of legend supposed to be true. Like, they take away now just as much as they give.
Yeah.
They find ways to lawyer their way out of their rewards, it seems. The Greyjoys...
Yeah, have to come back from taking their land back. So they could help.
So the Greyjoys... So that's what's his name, who says he's going to put a belly into Cersei, a baby into her belly. Which is basically as crazy as Cersei is now, that, like, slimy way he said that. I was saying when we were watching, I was like, that's basically the hottest thing he could have said to her right now. She's so obsessed with another child that it doesn't matter who it is.
But she's pregnant already.
So
I guess maybe she's...
So what's his army that he's got?
Like it's his baby.
He has the ships, and the army that he's transporting is the Golden Army, the one that is of the bank, the World Bank.
I think
their
so, yeah,
army.
it's theirs, right?
So they're all ready to fight for her in addition to her own troops. But the elephants didn't come, which made her really disappointed. But the Ironborn aren't going to help. So that's the Greyjoys, right? The Ironborn? Aren't that Greyjoys?
I think so, yeah.
They're not going to help.
I think they're going to help.
She's got her little band of people, but the most of the Greyjoys have just gone back to take back their stuff.
I know that
the
Theon's sister went back.
The Greyjoys have always just protected their own. Where are the allegiances right now?
His fleet, the Golden Company, mercenary army.
What are the allegiances of the Greyjoys? The whole, like, of the Ironborn. Is it to her or him? Because he betrayed them by surprise. But was it just his pirate men that did it? Or did he have all the Ironborn on his side? Did he convince them all?
I don't think he convinced them all because she has people. Theon's
just her
has
super, people. Loyal, I thought.
Okay.
I don't know. I think most of the Ironborn are with Euron. Yeah, because he made a big speech and they're all... Like, the Ironborn are the shittiest people in the world. They're the worst.
Yeah.
They're allowed to continue their pirating as long as they're not pirating anybody in the Seven Kingdoms. But they're going out and raping and pillaging. Like, as much as people would like to like Theon's sister, like, that she's, like, this really cool character, she's a horrible person. Like, the entire Ironborn MO is to just ravage people in the worst way. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They're horrible people.
Yeah.
They deserve to all die.
Yeah,
and
that's her name.
I don't believe I don't understand. I can't imagine. It doesn't make any sense for her character to want to help anybody but herself.
Maybe everyone will wipe themselves out and then they'll come in at the end and be like, "Oh fuck! All right, let's take over." And
we do not sow is their mantra. Huh. So they reap, but they do not sow. Yeah, they're horrible. And that's the other problem I have with this show is, like, it is objectively comprised of horrible people. Everyone is bad, terrible person to some extent. Like, barring maybe Pod. Pod is, like, the only person who isn't just, like, at some... Maybe Brynn is completely virtuous. Brienne is completely virtuous. She's terrible.
Yeah.
She's done horrible things.
Yep. Brienne is very horrible. Or honorable. Sorry. I was like, what?
So the thing is, that my trouble with the show is, like, how everybody's objectively horrible, but they're making these, like, sort of, I don't know what the word for it is, these emblems of, like, virtue out of every character because they're all fan favorites and they want them all to be held up to this, like Jaime is such a fan favored, like, honorable, amazing man. He's terrible.
Yeah.
And, like, people just, like, oh, forget about that. He's a good guy. Like, that's what that feels like the show is doing. Is like, forget all that.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
No, he's a good guy.
He's a good guy now because, like, you know, he's pretty and, like, lots of people are cheering for him out there. So, you know.
Who do you think will end up on the Iron Throne, like, guys?
Just to, like, you know.
Gilly, yeah.
The fact, like, I remember when Jaime basically raped Cersei over their dead son, everybody was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. It was believable to me. Very believable. And they're like, there was no reason to put that in. It's like, there's no reason to put anything in.
Yeah.
There was no reason to put dragons into it. You could have told the same story without dragons, basically. You could have made her the mother of, like, I don't know, strong fighting guy. Didn't have to be dragons.
Yeah.
It's in there because it is terrible. And it's gritty and feels more real because of its super reality.
Yeah.
And anyways, he does that, and I feel like people have just rewrote the character in their head because they love him and they think he's honorable and they want him to have an honorable ending. They've decided, well, that wasn't him that raped his sister. That was the writers, and they're terrible people. It's them who are terrible, not Jamie the character.
They think his character has grown and changed. So it's
just because
okay
he's
now.
pathetic now. Anybody would change when they've like become a broken person. Yes, people can grow, but that's okay. It's okay to still cheer for him. What I'm saying is just don't make him into this like friggin' different. People have been like making their own images of these characters,
Right.
And just having selective memory about what they've done. It's okay to cheer for an anti-hero. One of my favorite characters in all of any TV show I've seen that I cheered for was Horrible Man on Deadwood.
Cy Tulliver.
Both Cy Tulliver and the main. Why am I? Ian McShane's character. What's his name? That's weird that I can't remember it. But like Deadwood was full of terrible, horrible characters that I cheered for. Al Swearingen.
Yeah.
That I cheered for.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to cheer for anti-heroes. They're not even anti-heroes. They're villains basically, but I was cheering for them. One of my favorite characters that I cheered for, literally cheered for, from the Purple Man, but he's not purple in the actual show.
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones is the guy. He is one of the most evil people to grace the screen. But I was cheering for him because I was like, I want to see what this guy comes up with. That's fucked up shit.
Thank you.
Kilgrave fucking made a girl go into the closet and she had to pee herself because she wasn't allowed to leave. Like, this guy's bad. This guy's a pretty bad guy. Like, I want to see what else he comes up with. He's creative with his badness.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I wanted to see. Kind of like Sid from Toy Story. You want to see what he comes up with next, even if he's terrible.
God.
Anyways,
do you want to talk about who you think will be on the Iron Throne?
Sure.
Lots of people were saying Sansa.
I don't want that.
He wants her dead.
In the end, I want Cersei to win.
Whoa.
Yep.
Evil.
And I want her to, like, be horribly unhappy. Like, she wins, but she is just, like, she's already one of the most unhappy people in this entire show. Like, her entire reality is just, like, she's driven by one core principle. Two, one, the Iron Throne is my fucking throne, and I will pass that throne to my baby.
Yeah.
That is her entire drive. I want her to win. I want all the good guys to lose. I want Jon Snow to die a terrible, like, fucking, like, embarrassing death. I want him to be, like, begging for mercy as he dies. I want Daenerys to have killed him by accident. Like, I want the worst things for all of the characters.
That would be
except for the worst character, Cersei. I want her to win. That's my kind of media. I get off on tragedy. Shakespearean, like, Titus style tragedy. Horrible shit. Give that to me.
I cannot comprehend this.
It's why I loved Game of Thrones, and I still enjoy it, but god damn it, give me that old time. I get shivers from, like, the nightmares that I'm going to have about just how unjust, like,
I do think that would be great.
The best moment in this entire series, no, two great moments, my favorite moments in this entire Game of Thrones series, Red Wedding, Belly getting stabbed, that made me back off in my seat. I was, like, horrified.
Yeah.
Horrified.
Yeah.
By what they did. And I was like, that was just like, this show will do anything, and I loved it.
Yeah.
It's
that
like,
was fucking wild.
Like, this is my horror. Some people like to watch horror movies because they like to be scared and don't know what's going to happen next. This is my horror. I don't like supernatural horror, monsters. I like stuff where you are afraid of what these characters will do and what the writers are capable of writing. Mm-hmm. And then the second moment was, and this one is really, like, this is the biggest one, is the mountain crushing that guy's, what's his name's head, after getting revenge. I hate no character in the show more than the Mountain. The whatever he used to be. Now that he's just a zombie, who gives a shit, I guess. But, like, I hate him more than anybody in the whole show. Like, when you read what, I, like, read up on what the book said that he did, and just, like, God. And that scene was just, like, this moment of, like, finally some justice can exist in this world. And then there's that shot of the Lannister dad, the main Lannister man, sitting, watching it all, sitting there like, as like he like walks around the guy and points at him and says, he admitted it, and like is pointing at him like, fuck you, old man, like I got him to admit it.
Yeah.
When he had been denying like any of that was like his fault and stuff, and then like basically embarrassing him in front of everybody, and then he like, just as justice comes to the world of Game of Thrones, he dies the worst way. The worst horrible way. It was amazing. It was perfectly horrible. It made me, like, it stuck with me for weeks after. I was like, this is...
Yeah.
It made me sad. But that's why the show was so good with its writing. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want. What I think will happen.
His head did explode as fuck.
I think you guys are probably right. I think Sansa's going to end up on the throne. I think that's probably what they're going for.
With Tyrion as her...
That's what
husband?
The zeitgeist of the internet is. That's what everybody like. It doesn't exist. It's not written in a vacuum. It's writing itself to be relevant in this world and almost as an allegory to what happens in our real world. I feel like, and that's where they're failing. The writers have this like sort of motivation, or they have an agenda, I feel like, to be this thing that people will look back on as an example of this era, as like the woman who has been the most suffering, the most seemingly, some of the most through the entire thing, is going to finally get her like, you know, shut it all down and be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Sansa power. And that's what they're gonna do.
You
so
think
lame.
A lot of people have been saying Arya?
It doesn't make any sense. What kind of scenario would allow that to happen? That's a stretch.
Sansa would have to die.
Sansa would have to die. That's such a huge stretch. They're not even blood in any way. Like, Jon Snow's blood to the throne, at least.
But nobody really knows that.
In what scenario would anybody allow... Sansa has a case. She's the Queen of the North. She came back down and says, like, hey, we just saved your asses up in the North. I'm the Queen of the North. Now I'm the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. Jon has abdicated, but he has his blood claim. Daenerys has a blood claim. Even a fucking blacksmith has a blood claim, but Arya has nothing. No, and Arya will not. There's no way she could. Makes no sense. I can't see a scenario where it makes sense. But the show doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah. Daenerys, yeah, is so dead.
Put little Robin on the throne. The kid who throws people through the sky vault or the sky window, the moon door.
Yeah.
Those scenes. Oh my god. So fucked up. Like, it's amazing because you know
Gendry.
The reason it's so great is because reality is fucked up. When you read some history of what kings have done in the past, like, I read this one thing about this is like almost more horrible than a Game of Thrones writer could come up with. A Chinese queen back in the day came up with a famous torture that her worst enemies, and sometimes it didn't even take much to be her worst enemy. Sometimes I think she did this to a woman who was her like romantic rival. Basically, if you crossed her, she would give you pig death. Pig death involved cutting off all your limbs, cutting off your nose, gouging out the person's eyes, and then cauterizing their ears shut, then letting them wallow in their own filth for like a week afterwards, still feeding them to keep them alive and giving them water, and just wallowing on the ground as a quadriplegic with no limbs, unable to see or hear, in pain on the ground. Empress Wu.
Is she the same one who would like get people to sit on their...
Oh no, that was an African queen. And it was only one time she did that. She walked into a meeting with male kings, and they did not provide her with a chair in order to embarrass her, so she ordered one of her male slaves to create a chair for her, and then when the meeting was concluded, she slit his throat and said, I never sit on the same chair twice. Just as a power move, slit her own slave's throat. Anyways, the fact is, that fucking pig death, like...
Yeah, that's...
They called it.
Insane.
Reality is even more horrible, and people like look at horrible things in Game of Thrones and say like, they didn't need to do that. No, they didn't. But like, what are we watching this for?
Yeah.
Like, you know, what's his name in Breaking Bad didn't need to, I don't know, wear his underwear during scenes, but like it added to the like there's what's his name, like Jackass in the wheelchair didn't need to like shit on his wheelchair in that scene to as a fuck you to the cops, which is a horrible thing to watch. But what are we watching media for if horrible things, like, stop watching, go watch Sesame Street. These rants are going all over the place. Sorry, I'm getting a lot out. But we've never talked about Game of Thrones on the show really before, except for when we played the game. We would talk a little bit every so often about the show. But anyways, it was a good episode.
Yes, it was.
It just could have been a lot better.
This rant was as long as that episode.
Was it? It might have been.
Might have been.
Thanks for sitting through it. Lisa liked it.
I did see the Elmo do Game of Thrones thing. Did you?
No, what?
Yeah.
Elmo do Game of Thrones? Like official? Like they... Elmo Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Lisa is very soft. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode. And the only thing that I was upset about was the fact that more people didn't die. Really.
Yeah, everybody survived.
Yeah.
Because they refuse. Oh my god. Sesame Street did a Westworld thing?
Oh, weird.
I don't want to see Elmo. I want to see Grover doing a Game of Thrones parody from 4 years ago. I don't want to really make this a part of this. I'm just going to, without sound, just look at what this... Oh, it looks funny.
Oh, the Elmo one, I feel like is
Game of Chairs. So it's... I love Grover. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. That was my rant. Becky was just here for the ride.
Yeah.
Becky
I'm just
is
here for the butts.
very similar to Ben in that if she likes something or dislikes something, she's just like, I don't know. I just disliked it or I liked it.
No.
And then sometimes you'll think for a long time and then you'll say, all right, now I have something to say. Once she's like really thought about it.
As soon as that show we were watching recently was over, I had a million things to talk about what I hated about it. And it took me 3 TV shows to finally come down.
Did you want to do a segment on that? We could do that. A review of Westworld. And Becky will do the talking.
I'm not very good
because we finished the second season of Westworld as well. All right, we'll be back then.